Well, this time around, guys, I'm in front of you to discuss, or rather to share an anecdote which many of you would be oblivious to. Well, we're talking about Yash Chopra's directorial Kaala Patthar that released in 1979, the multi-star, featuring Amitabh Bachchan, Shashi Kapoor, Shatrughan Sinha, Rakhi, Parveen Babi, and Neetu Singh, right? Prem Chopra. It went on to sort of win critical acclaim, though it was not that successful at the box office. However, it did win several Filmfare nominations, and it is rated as one of the cult movies in the history of the Indian film industry, I must say. Well, many of you wouldn't know that initially, the entire team, not I wouldn't say the entire team, but the powers that be in the team, like Yash Chopra and some of the members of the cast, weren't quite keen on having Shatrughan Sinha on the board. Perhaps it was jealousy or it was intense rivalry, and we all know that politicking is an integral part of the Hindi film industry. But Salim Javed, who wrote the script, they were quite insistent on having Shatrughan Sinha. In fact, they had a lot of say during those days. In fact, on several films, it was Salim Khan or Javed Akhtar who actually called the shots when it came to casting. Though Yash Chopra was not very keen on having Shatrughan Sinha on board, Salim Khan insisted, and Salim Khan was pretty adamant that only Shatruji would do full justice to the role of the character of Mangal Singh. I mean, after a lot of prodding, Yashji did come over and he had a chat with Shatruji, and I mean, it was pretty sort of obvious to Shatrughan Sinha that Yashji was not very sort of interested in what should I say, having him in the team. He was constantly harping on Shatrughan Sinha's reputation of reporting late on sets, and he was trying to sort of put that up as a pretext. But I mean, Shastruji wanted to sort of hear the script. He was quite keen, and he constantly requested Yasji to sort of narrate the script to him. And this is something that I've gathered from one of Shatrughan Sinha's, interviews with actor Arbaz Khan. So finally, I mean, like. Yasji agreed, and before that, Salim Khan had spoken to Shatruji and had categorically told him that, come what may, you should actually do this film because it's going to be a trendsetter. So finally, Shatruji, sort of was roped in. He was on board, and the film, as I said, it's definitely a classic, and it was also, I mean, it was also made around the time when the rivalry, the professional rivalry between Amitabh Bachchan and Shatrughan Sinha, was at its peak, and in fact they were not on talking terms. There was a fight sequence which was designed capitalizing on this professional rivalry between Mr. Bachchan and Shatruji, and it was I mean, if you watch the film, of course you watched the film, but some of you who haven't, if you watch the film, it would seem that they were actually fighting in real. I mean, the sequence was so authentic and so sort of credible and so believable, I must say. Well, Shatruji did win a lot of plaudits for his performance as Bangal Singh. In fact, his character eventually dies in the film at the end. However, obviously, as usual, Amitabh Bachchan walked away with the cherry, which didn't quite go down well with Shatruji. And he had said several times in many of his interviews that there was a time when Amitji stopped or refused to share screen space with Shatrughan Sinha because he thought that it was Shatruji who was sort of winning all the plaudits, who was getting all the credit, and somewhere down the line he was feeling a bit sidelined. But I mean, like, all's well that ends well. Both are great friends now. They have probably, they have in fact sorted out their differences. But this particular, I mean, story, I'm sure would be of a lot of interest to you. And I personally feel that the Hindi film industry is a very obviously it's a very professional zone. There's so much of rivalry, there's so much of competition, and actors actually walk that extra mile to grab the limelight, and in the process they kind of shun certain, I would say, values, certain ethics, as clear as that. But I mean, like, as they say, it's everything is fair in love and war. Well, coming back to Kala Patthar, to me, obviously, it's going to be it's always been one of my favorite films. No matter how many times I watch it, it still looks fresh to me. It was a package as a whole. The performances, the casting, the storyline, the music, and the suspense factor as well. And it also dealt with a very pertinent topic during that point of time. How owners of coal mines were so inflicted so much of torture, how they inflicted so much of torture on their employees. And obviously Mr. Bachchan's performance is rated as one of his best, and he was like amazing in the film. But let's not run down Shatruji. Let's not run down Shatruji. I think he did his part despite the towering presence of Mr. Bachchan, around whom scripts were designed that point of time. He stood his ground and delivered. So thank you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this session. And once again, heartiest gratitude from the bottom of my heart for all the support. It's touching 400 subscribers, and I owe this to you. God bless, and please, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, Broken Journal, please do that at the earliest, and keep on supporting me. God bless.